Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing really well, and I hope that you are as excited for today's finale as I am. As you know by the title, today is the wrap up for my 2022 rolling project pan. I cannot believe that we're already today is the 28th of December, the very end of December. I kicked off this project right on the 1st of January, and I have been having a blast with this project. It's something that was a little bit different for me on my channel because this has been my one and only focus project pan outside of Pan Those Eyeshadows, whereas in years past I had worked on many project pans in tandem with one another. So this has been quite an adventure for me, a little bit of a different experience, but overall I am so happy looking back on all of the progress that I've made through this project. And because I am the kind of person who really enjoys metrics and I really enjoy reflections as well, at the end of today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of a recap on all the products and kind of my thoughts on this project as well. But of course, before we get on into all of that, let's talk about the progress that I have made over this past month. I have been working on 8 products. Traditionally, I've been working on 10 focus products in this project pan, but last update was a big one. If you had watched that semi-finale, I hit my goal on, I believe, 4 products, and I decided to just roll 2 into the project to work on because I didn't want to overwhelm myself. I knew that I was only going to have about 4 weeks of progress anyways. So I rolled in 2 and I had a grand total of 8 items that I'm going to be sharing with you today, the progress that I have made on them. And yeah, I wore makeup 22 times since my last update in this project. That is something that I've really enjoyed sharing with you throughout this year, is how often I'm actually wearing makeup. So 22 additional times of wearing makeup is what allowed me to make the final push on a lot of these products and to make the progress that I did to share with you today as we wrap up my project pan. So let's get on into all the progress that I have actually made. I am so excited to share this all with you. I feel like this is a great project pan finale, if I do say so myself. So let's get on into it. I kind of feel like I just want to get the newest roll-ins out of the way right now because they were the products that I had the least time spent with. They have obviously the least progress, but they still have progress nevertheless. So I kind of just want to move those out of the way. And the first one I have here is the Colourpop So Juicy Lip Gloss. This is in the shade Stuntin, which is a gorgeous kind of rosy, soft coral kind of shade with a ton of pinky and silvery glitter. It is a really gorgeous lip gloss. However, I didn't have an end goal with this. I just wanted to roll it into the project for the sake of having a lip gloss to focus on and just out of sheer curiosity as to how much progress could be made in only a month's time. And I'm happy to see that I was able to use about 1 centimeter of product there. So you can see right there, the marking has gone down. I'm happy about that most definitely. This is a great formulation for tracking because it does settle very nicely compared to other lip gloss kind of formulas. But this was something that I just used whenever I was sitting at my desk and I wanted a little bit of something on the lips, but I did not wear this out of the house at all this month because it is a very sticky formulation and it's minty. So it just did not jive with the cold, windy, wintry weather that we have going on right here. So I didn't wear this out of the house at all. Wearing my parka, my hair would just get stuck in my lip gloss without a doubt. And then it would just be that uncomfortable minty kind of feeling when you get hit with some cold air. So I just decided not to use it. I'm really happy to see the progress. It was just something that I wanted to see, and just knowing how much I was able to use in a month through this project, I imagine this will take me quite some time to work my way through if I were to decide to focus on it in a project pan in the future. It's just interesting to know what I could be getting into and how long it really could take if I decided at some point in the future this was going to be a focus product for me. And then the other product that I rolled in my last update was another Colourpop item. It is the pressed powder shadow from the Dream Street palette from Kathleen Lights and Colourpop, and the shade is called Sweet Dreams, which is a gorgeous kind of champagne-y gold kind of shadow. My goal with this was to hit pan on it, and I knew that was definitely attainable given that this formulation is a little bit more soft, a little bit more crumbly, and it requires a little bit more building than other metallic formulas out there. And I did hit pan on it. It really didn't take me very long at all. It took me 7 uses. More often than not, I wore it on the inner corner of my eyes or on my brow bone. And so I was using kind of like more of a more precision kind of brush in order to do that. So 7 uses is all it took. And that's all I reached for it this month too. As soon as I hit pan on it, I just put it away. I had honestly forgotten it was in this project until I was like pulling everything out to talk about them today, and I was like, what is that other product? What's the other product? I knew I had 8 items to share, and it was this one. But pan nevertheless, and I'm really, really happy about that. 7 uses is great. Definitely when it comes to Colourpop formulas, mattes take me like 40 plus uses, and then their metallics seem to go much more quickly because they're just pressed a little bit differently. In my last update, I did share with you that I had frankened 2 products together, so that just means that I had amalgamated 2 individual items into one. So I repressed them together. There is a short also on my channel that I'll share with you of how I did that with these products. But that was the Physicians Formula Butter Blush and a Colourpop Pressed Powder Shadow from the Yes Please palette, the one called Full Zip, which was just like a creamy eyeshadow. So those 2 were living together in this pan right here from Physicians Formula. And I knew that it was very, very close to being done given the fact that there was so little of each of those items when I decided to press them together. And I'm so happy to report that it is entirely used up now. This is a barren pan. So technically that is 2 products that I hit my goal on. And these are both nice, shiny, empty pans, and that feels amazing. These were both very old products in my collection, so thank goodness I finally made that last push and got them used up. This product right here, the Natural Glow from Physicians Formula, was so beautiful. It was something that I've really enjoyed having in this project for many months. I think I've had it in the project for 5 or 6 months, and I'm so happy that it won't be coming into 2023 with me, even though I thoroughly enjoyed it. It felt so good to get every last particle of it used up. It really did feel so good. So that is an empty, and Full Zip is finally an empty after having been in my collection also for so long. So 2 products that I hit my goal on and 2 more empties to add to my year-long empties. In my second to last update, so the update that took place at the very beginning of November, I decided to roll in another item that didn't have any sort of actual goal. I just was curious how much I would reach for it. I was curious if I would enjoy reaching for it. And it was my Charlotte Tilbury Wonderglow. This is a glowy primer or base kind of product, and it is something that I've had in my collection for so long, but I really didn't feel like I had made that notable progress on it, and I kind of had forgotten my relationship with it as well. So I started off this project with this much actually still in the product, so quite a lot of product for having this like 2.5 years in my collection. Last update, I had reached for it 14 times and it brought me down to this point. And since that point in the product, I've actually reached for it an additional 19 times, but it doesn't seem to be settling. Even though I applied it a couple hours ago, it doesn't seem to be settling the same way as previously. So I think I'm sitting at about this point here. But altogether, I ended up reaching for this 33 times in this project over the last 2 full months. And I think that is great. I'm really happy that I made the final push at the end of this year to use this. And that feels like a very substantial number of uses as well. I'm very, very happy about that number. Hopefully by the end of today's video, I can mark this. And of course, I'll share with you a close-up image on the screen as well, so you can see where the new line of demarcation is. So yeah, that wasn't something I had an end goal with, but I was just kind of curious. Same with the lip gloss. And overall, it feels good to see a volume of my product going down, seeing things getting used up in some kind of quantitative way, and that feels incredible. I am so excited to share with you some empties. All right. So the first one was my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade Bronzer. I shared this already on my stories here on YouTube, so you know she's empty, and thank goodness, because this is something that I was starting to not enjoy quite as much. I used to absolutely adore this product so much, but lately I've been feeling like I didn't really love it in the same capacity. I was finding that it was maybe a little bit too warm for what I've been wanting, especially at this time of year when I am at my absolute fairest. But either way, I worked my way through it. I got it used up and it feels so good to see this gone. This packaging broke throughout the way, like this latch doesn't work on here anymore. This part of the product ended up coming completely out of the packaging. So sayonara. I am so happy that this will be going into my makeup empties, which will be coming very, very soon. The one product that most definitely is going to be a carryover, so this will be in my 2023 project pan without a doubt, is this one that I've been saying for the last few months was going to be an early 2023 empty instead, which is my Essence Satin Touch Blush in the shade Satin Love. As you can see, the pan is massive. There is so much exposed shiny pan here, but there still is product on the perimeter. And although I really want to get this used up, I haven't been forcing myself to use it every single time that I do my makeup because I just don't want to. I don't want to use it all the time. I use it very frequently, but I don't want to push myself to a point where I am hate panning this. Although I love the color and I love the texture, I've just been allowing myself to reach for this in the capacity that I want to gravitate towards it naturally. So some months I reach for it maybe 5-6 times. Other months I might reach for it like 15 times. I think this month it was exactly 10 uses. And that's okay. I'm using it frequently, but I'm not using it exclusively. And I just had to allow myself grace with this product. I know it will be empty. I am going to make it happen. I'm not going to end up decluttering it when it's this far in, when it's this close to empty. But I just didn't want to push myself to the point of being burnt out or hating this product or disliking this product. So as much as I wish this had been an empty for 2022, I reconciled with it months ago that it wasn't going to be the case, that I was going to bring this into 2023 with me. And yes, that is for certain at this point. But next year, I'm going to finish it up hopefully by, let's say, March or April. What do you think? What's your guesstimation based on the amount of progress that I have made over the many months that this has been in this project? Let me know. Let me know what you think. And then lastly, very, very lastly, I have another product that I was able to finish up, but this one is one that surprised me. I had come to terms with the fact that I wasn't going to finish this year, and yet here we are. The Bite Beauty Multi-Stick Mini in the shade Cashew. Yes, it's just a mini, but it's something that I have put serious work into this year, and I'm so, so happy it is finally freaking done. So last update, I had dug everything out of this container. As you can see, it's completely empty, and I had depotted it into this e.l.f. pan here, and it is done. I decided to kind of keep the last remnants, like the basically just the last little tiny bits on the pan. I decided to keep them till today's update so I could wear it as a blush today. This is the very, very end of an era because there is no more usable product in this little bullet right here, nor is there any usable product in this pan. So no more cashew. No more cashew in my life at all. I feel so over the moon that this is done, especially here at the very end of the year, because it brings down my cream blush numbers. That's a kind of inflated category for me, for my own preferences, how I want my collection to be. And so this brings it down by another one as we head into 2023, and that feels so good. This was included in my end of 2022 makeup inventory, and I know I just recently posted that, but I actually filmed it like 2 weeks ago. So it took me those last couple weeks to get it used up, and my goodness, I am so happy it is done. So to wrap up this update, I hit my goal on 5 of my 8 focus products. I didn't hit my goal on the blush, and then 2 other items were just kind of to monitor, to take a look at how I was using them. So they didn't necessarily have goals. So I would call this a very successful update in my opinion. The blush was one that I didn't finish, but I knew wasn't gonna be the case, but I still worked on it this month and saw a little bit of visible progress in the amount of product that was used. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with how this project has wrapped up. I have had such a blast working on just one singular project pan outside of my Pan Those eyeshadows, which was a huge change for me. In years past, throughout my entire kind of panning history, I have been working on multiple project pans, all with different numbers of products to work on, all with different types of goals. And this year, I just decided I wanted to make some space for myself and minimize the amount of stress that I was putting on myself through project panning so that I could have more opportunities to film other types of content, so that I could see how I reached for my own collection naturally, and to kind of create a little bit of balance between using things up and getting use out of things. And overall, this project really did allow me to use up a lot of products and to hyper focus on a select few products. But I feel like this was the most balanced year for me to actually get use out of my collection, because you'll see in my makeup empties, I still managed to use up a lot more makeup outside of this project pan. But let's talk about the numbers. I actually ended up using 17 products up in their entirety through this project pan. So as I said, other items have been used up to completion outside of this project, but 17 focus items over this year have been used up. So let's kind of just quickly chat about those, and let's talk about them in order. The first empty was my Bite Beauty Flat White Lip Gloss. That is something that feels like I used it up years ago. I can't even believe that that was at the beginning of this year, but I finished that up relatively early on in the project pan. It was the very first empty that I used. The next was my e.l.f. Camo Concealer, the satin version, the hydrating kind of version. Finished that up pretty early in the year. I also finished off my Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light Wand in the shade Spotlight. That also feels like that was a lifetime ago that I used that. It doesn't even feel like it was in recent times that that was even a part of my collection, but that is done and gone. I finished up my Bare Minerals Gen Nude lipstick in the shade Notorious through this project. Again, it was something that I dug out and used up as a cream blush and as a lipstick in that capacity as well. Loved, loved, loved that product so much. Now I'm missing it. Now that we're talking about it, I'm missing it. I also finished off my Too Faced Peach Perfect powder. That took a long time, but that was something that I was so happy to work out of my collection. I finished up one sunscreen in this project pan, which was the Supergoop Unseen Sunscreen. I use that mostly as a primer anyway, so that feels really good. I finished off my Milani powder. It was the Conceal and Perfect powder. That was a long time coming. I had that in my collection for years. I finished off another lip gloss, the Revolution Pout Bomb in the shade Kiss. That didn't take me very long to use up. It was not a favorite, but I used it. I used up a e.l.f. primer, an eyeshadow primer, or like a kind of, technically I think it was a liquid shadow, but I used it as an eyeshadow base. It was the shade Nude Linen. I finished up a lip liner, which was a huge feat for me. It was the Colourpop Brink. I also finished off another Colourpop product that was a huge feat for me, which was the Super Shock Cheek in the shade Blow Me Out. Another e.l.f. concealer. I finished the Camo Concealer in the kind of matte, the original version. Finished that one off as well, which feels so good. And the third lip gloss that I finished in this project pan was the Merit Lip Oil in the shade Marrakesh. That also feels like it was a long time ago that I finished it, but that was actually just last update, I believe. And then for today's update, I finished off the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, the Physicians Formula Butter Blush, the Colourpop eyeshadow in the shade Full Zip, and Bite Beauty Cashew. So altogether, 17 total empties in this project pan. I also was able to reach my usage goals on 7 products too, which is amazing. And then I was also able to hit pan on 3 new products in my collection through this project pan. Next year, I definitely want to increase that number. I would like to see that a little bit higher. And there were unfortunately 3 products that either I didn't have a goal on or I wasn't able to reach my goal on. So 2 of which were items from today's update. As I said, I didn't have technically goals on them. And then I wasn't able to reach my goal on my Mauve bronzer through this project, but I've worked on a grand total of 30 products, 17 empties, 3 new pans, and 7 products that I did hit my usage goals on. So yeah, big old success in this project. I feel like I was able to reach so many goals because I was very particular about what I was bringing into this project pan. I never had that many overlapping categories of products in this project. I really wanted to focus on one blush, one bronzer, one base product at a time. And so I was able to almost curate a full face of products that I was focusing on, whether they were things in this project or things that I just kind of wanted to use from my collection and I wasn't sharing on camera. And so I had like this kind of set makeup wardrobe every single month of items that I was reaching for, and I knew that I wanted to use them, and I really did enjoy using all of them as well. I didn't hate pan anything this year. I had my challenges for sure on many products, but I really overall feel like I was enjoying the process of project panning because I didn't overwhelm myself with the number of products, the different types of products as well. And I feel like oftentimes I had a very kind of monochromatic kind of vibe going on as well. Like I would have a lip gloss and a blush and a maybe lip liner or a eyeshadow that I was working on that all felt like they belonged together, and so I was wearing them very often. And I feel like that was just a game changer for me. I wasn't trying to make progress on 3 different bronzers through 3 different project pans. And yeah, it's maybe not quite as interesting for my viewers, but it made project panning so much more fun for me again this year. Last year, I definitely was starting to feel very burnt out with project panning, and I gotta say, I feel very invigorated about project panning this year because I did take that step back. So that feels really good. And one thing, because I've been working on just this one project pan, one thing that I was able to do and monitor was how often I was actually wearing makeup. So every single update I shared with you how often I wore makeup since my previous update. Let me know if that's something that you kind of want to see in my next year's project pan. I don't have to share that metric with you moving forward, but this year was just something that I wanted to implement for my own curiosity, and I thought it was really interesting to see in comparison to the number of uses of each product, how many times I actually wore makeup. But I do have that metric for you now. Every month I just shared with you what I wore month to month, but I've now added up the grand total of every single time that I wore makeup since January 1st, and I have worn makeup 271 times this year. Today is the 28th of December, so I'm gonna be wearing makeup probably 3 or 4 more times this year as we wrap up the year. Yeah, 271 times. So I was able to use up so much makeup because I was wearing so much makeup. I was wearing makeup a heck of a lot. And yeah, I think that's really just an interesting number. I don't necessarily have a goal of the number of times I want to wear makeup in a year. It just was something for me to have in the back of my mind as a notable number. And that way I can kind of compare, like I was able to use up nearly 50 products for my collection. I think 45 empties at this point now. And with all of that, probably the number one thing that I think made this project pan successful was all of your encouragement, all of you continuing to push me and motivate me to keep moving forward with this project pan. Sharing these projects on my YouTube channel is something that keeps me very engaged with my project pan items because I want to show progress, but also the conversations that we have in the comments where you give me advice on how to use items, how to get more use out of the items that I'm working on, and just generally hyping me up and making me feel super thrilled to be a part of this community is so great. So thank you to all of you who have watched this project pan in any capacity throughout this year. It really keeps me motivated to use the collection that I have. I just want to say a massive thank you for all of your encouragement. It really makes project panning that much more fun. And the fact that this year I changed up my panning style and you still stuck by me is amazing. So thank you all so much. But with all of that being said, I gotta wrap it up on this video. I most definitely do. So that is everything. Thank you so much for watching not only this video, but of course every other video throughout this project pan. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for hanging out with me, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone.